Swadika, thank you for joining us on Newsline. We are broadcasting live on NBT, Radio Thailand FM 88, and on NBT World. It's Friday, October the 9th, and you're with me, Prayuth Kausan. And welcome to today's segment of Thailand Moves Forward. In our first story, Prime Minister General Prayuth Chanocha has chaired a meeting to follow up on the progress of the government's policy to develop special economic zones and to hear the input of firsthand from the private sector. The Ministry of Finance has recently relayed to the government the private sector's requests, which include reducing the cost of rent for 50 years of government-owned land from 500,000 baht per rai to 200,000 baht per rai, and reducing the rate of rent increase, which will be raised every 5 years. The suggestions have been forwarded to the Committee on the Special Economic Development Zones for consideration. General Prayuth affirmed that the government would consider all suggestions from the public and various committees in order to foster cooperation and orderly implement of the government's special economic zone policies. He said the government would continue to monitor the implementation of its current plans as well as the plan to enhance border security from 2015 until 2021, which included increased border inspection and customs processing. The new ambassador of the Philippines has paid a courtesy call on Prime Minister General Prayuth Chanocha, with whom she discussed the two countries' cooperation on trade, investment, and tourism. Deputy spokesman of the Prime Minister's office, Major General Wirashon Sukhontha Patipak, said that Ambassador Mary Jo A. Bernardo Aragon on Thursday had a meeting with Prime Minister General Prayuth Chanocha at Government House, who offered his congratulations on her appointment to Thailand. General Prayuth told his guests that the Thai government has always stayed ready to cooperate and provide support to the partnership of the two nations. The Thai Premier also asked the Philippine ambassador to help coordinate the arrangement to receive Her Royal Highness Princess Maha Chakri Sirinthorn's official visit to the Philippines in January of 2016. In addition, he has assured the continuation of collaboration both at bilateral and ASEAN-wide levels, which will cover all areas ranging from trade and investment to tourism and military affairs. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has convened with the Indonesian ambassador to Thailand to discuss solutions to the current haze crisis while promising to give the neighboring country any help needed. Following an invitation from the Thai Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Thailand, His Excellency Mr. Lutfi Rauf paid a courtesy call to Mr. Witawat C. Wihok, Deputy Permanent Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It was an attempt to update him on the wildfire situation in Indonesia, which has brought about a haze crisis in neighboring countries. Mr. Rauf on this occasion acknowledged Thailand's concerns over the impact of the haze and expressed sympathy for all those affected. Mr. Witawat was briefed by the ambassador on various measures being implemented and was assured that Indonesian officials are working as quickly as possible to extinguish the fires. He also pledged Thailand's readiness to assist and cooperate with Indonesian authorities in an effort to end the problem. In response, the Indonesian side thanked Thailand for its generous offer, adding that he will coordinate between the two countries to ensure that any assistance given will suit the needs of responsible agencies and pave the way for effective and concrete solutions. The ambassador was also adamant that the matter will be raised at the ASEAN Ministerial Meeting on the Environment in Vietnam later this month. The government has urged Thai people across the country to take part in the upcoming vegetarian festival for the benefits of health as well as the nation's economy. Prime Minister's Office spokesperson Major General Sanseun Kyakamnot said the vegetarian festival not only offered partakers the opportunity to regain their health, by eating vegetarian food, but also highlighted the country's cultural diversity, which would be beneficial to the tourism industry. According to Major General Sanson, public participation in the festive activities would be a gesture of invitation to foreign investors, since it can imply that the situation has returned to normal. He urged Thai people to take this festival to enjoy themselves, to liven up the tourism atmosphere. The Prime Minister's office spokesperson confirmed that Thais and tourists across the country could rest assured of their safety as well as security, and that civil officials had prepared precautionary measures to keep peace and order. He also advised the public to help authorities watch out for any irregularities. The President of the National Legislative Assembly stated that the Provisional Constitution needs an amendment in order to make a public referendum legally possible before drafting of the new charter can begin. NLA President Phonphet Vichit-Cholachai said that the amendment of the 2014 interim charter to pave the way for the public referendum will have to be considered and concluded by the Cabinet and the National Council for Peace and Order before the issue is passed back to the NLA to review. Mr. Phonphet stressed that ultimately the amendment process must be completed before the charter drafters can start their work, in order for the referendum to really take place within 180 days after the charter drafting wraps up. The National Legislative Assembly, or NLA, has approved in principle the amendments to the Juvenile and Family Act, which will revise the qualifications of judges. Deputy Prime Minister Wisnu Khurangam proposed that the law be amended, placing an age limit of 75 years for applicants for the position of associate judges and a minimum of age of 35 years, extending associate judges' tenure to 5 years, with a mandatory health examination after 3 years in office and stipulating a mandatory retiring age of 80 years. The NLA members were divided over the proposal, saying the minimum age should be raised from 35 years in order to retain the justice system. Judges with more experience, whereas the retirement age should be reduced 70 to 75 years, as the judge is responsible for case verdicts. The NLA also proposed that the court place greater importance on ensuring that judges are ethical, objective, and well-versed in juvenile and family laws. The NLA then voted to approve the first draft of the amendment with 178 votes in favor, 3 votes in opposition, 3 abstentions. A committee will be established and given 30 days to study the amendment and an additional 7 days to draft proposals for revisions. The chairman of the new Constitution Drafting Committee, or CDC, has denied rumors that he has already gotten a predetermined draft of the new charter. CDC Chairman Michai Ruchapan said that the charter drafters have not discussed any details of the new Constitution, as all just started working a few days ago. Mr. Michai said that the CDC is now studying previous versions of the Constitution to identify their pros and cons, which will be adapted into the drafting of the new charter. When asked if the new CDC will add any more power to any state agencies, he said all charter drafters will need to help consider this, as it is not his own responsibility to make such a decision. The CDC chairman also insists that the new charter drafters did not set any personal agenda while carrying out their work. He added that the CDC is planning to invite independent organizations to a meeting because of the need to hear facts and information as well as their opinions unrelated to unresolved problems in the country, all of which will be utilized in the charter drafting process. Former chairman of the Constitution Drafting Committee, or CDC, Bawansak Uwano, has turned down the offered position of an advisor to the new CDC, though he says he would be happy to assist the panel on the sidelines. Mr. Bawansak gave an interview to the press, saying he has already discussed with new CDC Chairman Michai Ruchapan about the latter's invitation for him to serve as an advisor for the new charter drafters. Even though it was an honor to be approached by Mr. Michai, He revealed that he has declined the position, claiming he had earlier made his intention not to take part in the charter drafting process again if the first draft was rejected. Mr. Bawansak said he would like to express sincere apologies to Mr. Michai for his refusal, while affirming he would be willing to provide support for him as an outsider or on a personal basis. He also praised Mr. Michai for his sacrifice in accepting the CDC Chairman post and voiced his belief that with his extensive knowledge and experience, the new drafting process will be conducted smoothly. The former CDC Chairman remarked that he has put his best efforts into formulating the previous charter drafter, saying it took into account the voices of all sectors, including the people in all corners of the country. Nonetheless, in the wake of its rejection, he urged everyone to focus their attention on the upcoming draft instead. The University of the Thai Chamber of Commerce, or UTCC, has reported another decline in the Consumer Confidence Index, or CCI, to 72.1 in September, putting it at the lowest in 16 months. According to Mr. Wachira Akun Tawithe, the Assistant Director of the UTCC Center for Economic and Business Forecasting, a recent survey suggested that the September CCI posted a decrease from the previous month to stand at 72.1. The figure represented a drop for the 9th consecutive month and the lowest reading in 16 months since June of 2014. The Assistant Director attributed the downward trend in the CCI to consumers' worries over the Bank of Thailand's reduction of GDP growth to 2.7%, as well as global economic uncertainties, export contraction, drought crisis, and slump in farm product prices. At the same time, the survey placed the confidence index on the overall economy at 61.2, job opportunities at 67.3, and future income at 87.9. The Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives has reported that there is sufficient water for consumption, but not for agriculture. Permanent Secretary for Agriculture and Cooperatives, Thirapat Prayuth, said most of the rain during this period fell in areas below dams. Normally, in the rainy season, an average amount of water was more than 10 billion cubic meters, but it remains at 6 billion cubic meters this year. The Royal Irrigation Department has estimated there will be sufficient water for consumption, preserve the environment, and block salt water this year. And that's the end of today's edition of Thailand Moves Forward. Before we take a quick break, let's take a look at the exchange rates and commodity prices.
To maintain a strong nation, Thailand is promoting 12 core values for the good of the people. The 11th core value: keeping physical and mental strength, unyielding to evil powers or desires, having a sense of shame over guilt and sins in accordance with religious principles.
ASEAN Political and Security Community. Prevent being deceived. Prevent being forced. Prevent being injured. The problem of human trafficking in children, women, and labor has been increasingly severe. Thailand and the ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights are working together to get rid of these problems in order to be fully accepted by the international community. One vision, one identity, one community.
Multiple perspectives, insightful commentary on Thailand with the insider every Sunday morning at 10:30 on NBT and NBT World.
Welcome to ASEAN, a community comprised of 10 countries, each with its unique culture and history, now unifying to bring added prosperity to the region. For centuries, each country remained independent, but now we are coming together to compete in the 21st century globalized world. ASEAN is bringing together more than 600 million citizens and a total land area of 4.4 million square kilometers, and is providing economic opportunities, trade, travel, and new educational possibilities. The combined GDP of all 10 ASEAN countries comes to a total of $2.4 trillion, which means the ASEAN entity ranks amongst the world's major economic powers. The future is here. Welcome to ASEAN, the community of opportunities. The Southeast Asia region is now becoming one.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs reported highlights from the UN summit where Thailand was chosen for G77 chairmanship and recognized for its efforts to use telecommunications to promote sustainable development. Ministry spokesman Sek Wanatmeti on Thursday spoke with the National News Bureau of Thailand on the Prime Minister's attendance to the United Nations General Assembly, or UNGA, in New York. Regarding Thailand's appointment as G77 chairman for 2016, Mr. Sek said it is a difficult challenge to negotiate with developed countries on behalf of developing countries. The G77 have considered Thailand to be their bridge to developed nations, which have also recognized Thailand's potential. Thailand's developed partner nations are confident that the kingdom is prepared for this difficult task.
The group of 77, G77, is a group of developing countries comprising 134 countries out of 193 members of the United Nations. And this means that Thailand has to coordinate the positions and viewpoints of all the 134 developing countries, of those countries in Latin America, Africa, Asia, altogether 134 countries, and to coordinate not only the position and viewpoints of the developing countries, but to use that position to negotiate with the developed countries of the EU, United States, Canada, those in the United Nations. So it's a very challenging task, but it's a task that we have been highly recognized, and we have the full confidence of all the developing countries and even our developed partners.
Mr. Sek also said that many world leaders agreed to adopt the UN's 15-year Sustainable Development Goals. Thailand's own efforts in sustainable development was honored with an award from the International Telecommunications Union for bridging digital gaps and using telecommunications as an instrument of sustainable development.
When we talk about the digital economy, bridging the digital divide, it's not only within Thailand, but within the region, because Thailand is recognized as the hub of Southeast Asia, the hub of ASEAN, and now with the establishment of the ASEAN community on the 31st of December of this year, Thailand, to promote itself as an effective hub, we need to connect the we need to bridge the digital divide within Southeast Asia and to connect the member states of the ASEAN through the telecommunications, through digital linkages. And so Thailand has is playing its role at two levels on the bridging the digital divide within the country and within the region, and to connect the region with East Asia and beyond.
The ministry spokesman said Thailand will use telecommunications to connect with fellow ASEAN nations ahead of the establishment of the ASEAN Economic Community. Elsewhere around the world, U.S. officials said 4 Russian cruise missiles fired at Syria from a warship in the Caspian Sea on Wednesday had crashed in Iran, while Russia insisted they had reached their targets in Syria. The White House declined to comment on the report from the officials who asked not to be identified, and the State Department said it could not confirm. If confirmed, the crashes would be a blow to the military strength Russia aimed to display in launching what it said were 26 missiles at Islamic State's targets in Syria, some 1,500 kilometers from the Caspian Sea on Wednesday. The Russian Defense Ministry denied any of the missiles had fallen short of their targets after reports of crashes first emerged on U.S. television. Russia had displayed graphics of the missiles flying over Iran and Iraq on Wednesday. U.S. officials have already disputed Russian reports that the missiles struck Islamic State fighters in Syria. Moscow says it shares the West's aim of fighting the extremists who have seized much of Syria, but fighters on the ground and Western states have accused it of targeting U.S.-backed rebels to support Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Rome Mayor Ignacio Marino has resigned his office, announced on Thursday, following a scandal over his credit card expenses that has dented the image of Prime Minister Matteo Renzi's Democratic Party. Marino, a member of the PD, denied allegations that he had used city money to wine and dine his family and friends, but has offered to pay back all the 20,000 euros that he had claimed on his official credit card. During the day, about 100 residents had gathered outside at the seat of Rome's municipal government, most of them to demand for the mayor's resignations. His resignation followed a heated meeting of the city government when it became clear he no longer had Renzi's confidence and had lost his majority on the council. Not everyone had tough words against the mayor. Some residents defended him. The mayor, famed for using a bicycle to move around Rome and for his plans to ban all cars from the historic center, has been dogged by various controversies for months. The latest scandal comes as the city is struggling to prepare for the forthcoming Roman Catholic Holy Year that is expected to bring millions of visitors to trouble-plagued Rome. German Chancellor Angela Merkel insisted on Thursday that refugees fleeing war and prosecution will always be welcomed in Europe. Merkel called on everybody to treat the migrants fairly and decently because it is not anonymous masses that come to us, it is individuals, people that come to us. And she added that everybody among those individuals has the right to be treated fairly. Merkel called on the other European government to help shouldering the burden of the influx of the masses. Her comments came as the German state of Bavaria threatened to break ranks with Berlin and send back Austria migrants who cross its Alpine frontier. And that's it for today's edition of Newsline. For any comments or suggestions, please feel free to email them to us at newsline.nbt@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook. Just simply type in NNT or check out our website at thainews.prd.go.th/en. We're going to say goodbye now with footage of the world's largest collection of Harry Potter memorabilia in Mexico. I'm Prayuth. Have a wonderful day. Sawasdee ka.